Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Your video is about to start on all things Social Security. Just a quick reminder, we are here every day, 9 a.m. with some sort of tip or tidbit for you. And we are here generally on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for live Q&As on everything Social Security. So feel free to pop in a timely fashion, and I will answer your questions there too. Have a great one. Bye-bye. Good afternoon, guys. Hey, let's talk about, pardon me, I still have that little cold. Someone brought up a really good point, and we had a little comment under the question going over, how opioids and the need to have them to control pain and all the side effects that go along with them, how that may influence a finding of disabled or not. And I just thought it would be better to speak my thoughts on it versus try to text them out because it never comes out fully. It can be a little curt because I'm usually whizzing through my responses because I have to get back to work. So I thought I'd put something a little more comprehensive out there. So the particular example given, and it was well taken, is if a person can't drive when they're on their opioid, you know, which would, why would, SSA say they can, not be disabled, get to work, that kind of thing. So what I wanted to explain was the side effects of medications are really important. I do have video on that. By and large, do never hang your hat on them. You have to do everything else. But you certainly want to add them because it's one of the many, many crumbs that come to build that cake that we're trying to build. If a person can't drive when they're on opioids, okay, one would say, I'm not allowed to drive when I'm taking my medication. Okay, what will that tell us, assuming that's believed to be true, which I think it will be? You can't be a taxi driver. You can't probably use heavy machinery, operate it, perhaps not be in close vicinity to it. And you wouldn't be doing anything like bus driving, delivery driver, a pilot, perhaps. Um, Things of that nature. That's like the obvious ones. But don't assume then that they're going to say, well, if you can't drive to work, you can't work. You might not be able to do your prior job. Maybe it's going to be a sophisticated, skilled job, and the side effects of a drowsy causing medication or brain foggy medication would eliminate your ability to do that proficiently in a timely manner, responsibly, etc. But you have to remember that the general rule is you have to eliminate all jobs. So just because you came from a high skilled, sophisticated job doesn't mean that as long as you can't do that, you're disabled. No, because you have to prove you can't do the minimum wage jobs also. And that would be the simple ones that don't require sophisticated thinking. Doesn't even necessarily require semi-skilled skills. It could be no skills whatsoever. Now, can the side effects of an opioid affect those jobs? Of course, because some of those jobs are going to be with machinery. Some of those jobs may be driving. But you can't just think that it's going to carve out all jobs. The fact that you can't drive to work is not going to save you because the SSA doesn't look about how you get to work, whether you take a train, bus, drive, fly, walk. It's whether you can do the job, not where you choose to live and how you choose to get there. There are many, many ways people are unable to drive. There are various disabilities. Some of them we call them legal disabilities. And that's when someone is legally not permitted to drive. It could be because they have a driving record and their privilege has been revoked. Or it could be sometimes there's a medical suspension while the medical issue has to resolve. Sometimes that will occur from epilepsy when the person hasn't been seizure free for a certain amount of time while on medications. There's a variety of things. I suppose, a doctor, if someone has a condition that warrants no driving, and I know doctors might be a little hesitant to do this, but they have the power to, and probably the obligation, but that's not my pay grade, to put it in order, and I'm not sure where they send it to, whether it's to the Department of Transportation for the state for a medical suspension to have it officially done. Whereas I see some doctors simply just tell their people, their patients, I really don't think you should be driving. One's kind of official, one's not. But variety of reasons why people can't drive to work and they're still not going to be found disabled because they can't drive themselves to work because there's other ways to get to work. And they're not going to look at, well, I'm too poor to do it, or, I don't have a car, or that's not going to be at play because remember, the bottom line is, are there zero jobs you can do because of one or more combined or separate medical impairments. And going back to the opioids, the side effects are so very important. But again, not in that blanket way, like I take an opioid, therefore I'm disabled. I would go on so far as to say it's obvious, and it will be obvious to you if you consider the fact that a very high percentage of people who go to work on a daily basis are on a painkiller, and often it is an opioid. There's also the aspect that a lot of people get tolerant of their opioids. They take them, they take the edge off whatever the pain it was for this moderate pain. And usually you don't really take it for mild pain, I don't think. I don't think you're supposed to. But so let's say it's moderate pain and it takes the edge off and they're in mild pain then and they go to work and they're on the opioid. They're able to tolerate it in terms of getting through maybe their job that is not super high skilled. Maybe it's only semi-skilled and they can muddle through it. The expectations may not be super high. Maybe it's not a high pace setting. So you have to always remember that if you look at it from the sphere of only the job that you did and that you couldn't do your own job and therefore, you're going to have a bad result, barring pure luck where your needle is naturally threaded up this maze to get you to a ward. It takes a little bit more effort than that and delving a little bit deeper. So I would just urge you not to rely on the mere fact of the medication side effect and that it prevents some things, and makes you not feel like yourself. I know I've been on them before when I had to, and it's true, but it's not going to be the thing that takes you out of the unskilled, simple jobs where you're not expected to think. You're just expected to do 1, 2-step, simple requirements. All right. And aside from the fact of that, when you do want to include it and you want to make sure you are articulating to your provider who prescribes it, and maybe another one that maybe doesn't prescribe it, but should be interested, like your primary care, the side effects. To say it's helping with the pain somewhat. Obviously, it's not probably fully helping, but the side effects are pretty substantial. And I do feel like I'm drowsy and it makes work really difficult. You have to articulate that so there's a chance that it can get in the records. Again, not because you're expected to take away all jobs, but in a lot of cases, other things are going to take away those other jobs. And again, I always use the phrase of threading that needle, but that's exactly what we do. And if you haven't taken out the jobs that would be eliminated by the side effects of the opioid medication, you're doing yourself a disservice potentially, because that might be now a big open gap of jobs. So it's very important to put it in there, but it's not going to be the lifesaver. It's not going to eliminate all jobs in the world. And we know it because people on opioids work every day. They're not disabled. And then others are. And those others are due to their impairments, not necessarily fully from the side effects of their medication. It is an added crumb to the pile of things that prevent them, but it is not the whole mountain itself. Okay. So I hope I make that clear. I know from the texting in the comments, it doesn't always come out clear, and I just try to bang up the salient points, but I hope that makes it a little more clear where I was trying to go in terms of it's important, but don't hang your hat on it. There's a lot more work to be done. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you later. Thank you for joining and taking a listen to this video. If you have any questions that relate to this or anything else with regard to Social Security, disability, retirement, SSI, etc., please do feel free to post it in the comments below, even if it's not necessarily related to this video, and I will see them. And if it's something I can do a video on, I will be happy to do that. If you are looking for representation in a current battle to prove that you are disabled, whether you have applied yet or not, and ideally, if you have not applied yet, that's when we like to come in and start from the beginning and do our wonders. You can go to joydisability.com, look up to your left, and there's a little link for a free SSD evaluation, and we will take a look at it and let you know one way or the other. If you are looking for a consultation, not representation, or you can't get representation for whatever reason, or it's a non-representational type of issue you need to review, you are more than welcome to order a prepaid consultation. It will be with me personally, and that link is on that same page, joydisability.com, but over on the upper right. Anyway, thanks for staying tuned, and I hope to see you every day, 9 a.m. with our little video shares or live Q&A if you want to join me live on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.